Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bayamuka Bridget. I'm a student at Imbara University of Science and Technology. Year 1, I'm doing computer science. According to the database assignment we were given, um, we're required to choose a topic for a database project and then list the possible database systems within that given topic. And then, out of the many list of possible database, we're supposed to make a choice of a database system and then give reasons why. And then also talk about the business case, which includes the application domain, the benefits, the costs, the user issues, the risks, and the limitations. Also talk about design of the database, the entities, the attributes, the relationships, and then the user interface, and the implementation, and then the bibliography. And then the topic I chose to talk about, I chose library database system just because it's practical, relevant to schools, and easy to model. Among the list of possible database systems within the library database, we have book cataloging system, book lending systems, library inventory tracking system, fine and dear date management, student borrowing history system. And then among these, I managed to choose the book lending and tracking system. And the reason why I made this choice, one of the reasons is because it helps track book students' borrow history and find making library tasks more easier. The other reason is that or when I'm not going to talk about the application domain. The application domain for this database system. And in the application domain, I'm going to talk about what the system is going to be. The system will manage the cataloging, borrowing, and returning of library resources for schools and education institutions. Then the key tasks of this database system include managing books, students, staff, and borrowing records, allowing librarians to track overdue books and generate reports, providing access to available titles and inventory updates, among others. And then I'm also going to talk about the benefits, the costs, and the user issues. Among the benefits, first of all, it reduces risks of loss of library items, it ensures better access to education resources, and improves user satisfaction because of efficiency. And then the costs that are going to be incurred in this project, we have the training costs for the staff and librarians. We also have the costs that are incurred in database development and modification. We also have the equipment purchase costs. We also have the high maintenance costs for increased efficiency. And then among the user issues, the project is going to require basic computer literacy to use and operate, especially by the students and then the librarians. It may also require training sessions for the librarians and then the staff. It also requires frequent updates and operational support. And then students should know how to search for books of their preference. Basically, that is it. And then also going to give a logical design. Among the logical design, I included the entities and then the attributes. I majorly have four entities, that is student, book, borrow, and return. And then among these, the attributes of a student, we have student ID, name, class, and the contact. And then the attributes of the book, we have the book ID, title, author, ISBN, year, and then the category ID, and then the status. The attributes of borrow, we have borrow ID, student ID, book ID, date borrowed, and date, and the due date. And then the attributes of return, we have return ID, the borrow ID, return date, and then the fine amount. Yeah, basically that is it. And then when I went to the physical design, I included some sample of the tables that are going to be drawn. Among the among the tables I might include one, I included the student table where first of all I create the student table and then I add the entities. I also created the book table. I also added the entities. I also had to create the book table. I also managed to add the entities. Basically, that is all about the physical design. And then the implementation basically is what exactly my project is going to be doing. So I had to include a sample of, I included a screenshot of a sample of my tables for my database project. And among the tables that I have, we have book, and then book return table, we have the bird table, we have the category table, the staff table, the student table, among others. And then the other implementation also showed a sample of the table entries for my database project. Yeah, basically that is a screenshot showing some of the entries I put for some of my tables. And then going ahead, I made a summary. So this report outlines the development of a library database management system tailored for the education department. So majorly I was looking at the education department, not any other department. So it concerns requirements, requirement analysis, the business case system design, both the logical and then the physical implementation, using my SQL sample queries and then the expected outputs. The project aims to enhance the management and accessibility of library resources across educational institutions by creating an efficient, user-friendly, and scalable database system. So that is my summary. I'm also going to talk about the possible risks and limitations of this database project. Among the risk assessment, I talked about the technical challenges such as frequent power outages, presence of software bugs that may destroy the data, among others. I also might to talk about the high resistance to change and limited compliance by the users, especially the librarians, the staff, and then the students. Then accidental deletion of data, or even by unauthorized users, and lastly, attack by malware that may lead to data loss. Lastly, I talk about the limitations. The first limitation I talked about, it's only restricted to school libraries and non-public libraries. The other limitation is that it's limited. It has limited offline capabilities, meaning that for you to access it, you have to be online using the right software gadgets. And then the inability to handle non-book items such as the compact discs or digital video discs unless they are modified. Um, then lastly, we have digital books that are not supported unless when added into the system. So basically, that has been my presentation of my database system. Thank you for listening.